Hi, dear students. A warm good morning to all of you. Welcome back to soil microbiology. Previously, we had mentioned about the soil bacteria as well as the soil fungi, and today now we're going to talk about soil actinomycetes. Actinomycetes, they are usually regarded as an intermediate group between bacteria and fungi. They have some properties of that of a bacteria, and they also have some properties as that of the fungi. So, though they are being considered to be as truly as filamentous bacteria, they show some properties of the fungi also. They usually form slender branched filaments which will develop into mycelium as in the case of fungi. Usually in fungi we can see hyphae and entangled hyphae is referred to as a mycelium. So similarly in the case of actinomycetes also the what? Slender, that means thin branched filaments can be found and they could also develop into the mycelium as in the case of fungi, and sometimes they could also form either single, paired or even a chain of asexual spores called the conidia on their hyphae. Normally, the formation of conidiospores usually happen in the case of fungi, but the similar occurrence of conidiospores in the case of actinomycetes also do occur. And usually, this actinomycetes they show a very they do not show in fact or a very less turbidity is being shown when they grow in the liquid cultures. And like bacteria, actinomycetes they have some of them might have flagella, and they have a similar cell wall composition as that of the bacteria, and they are sensitive to the antibacterial compounds and not to the antifungal compounds, though they have a fungus like growth appearance. So normally, if you go to think about actinomycete itself, it has been found to be a very slow growing group, and it has been found to have some of the properties of fungi as well as at the same time some properties of the bacteria. So if you have bacteria and if you have fungi, you keep actinomycetes in between as an intermediate group, and let's talk about the actinomycetes which have been found in the soil. As we mentioned earlier, actinomycetes they have been found to grow at a very slow rate, and they can be present either on the surface of the soil, and sometimes they might also occur in lower horizons, particularly in the environments of about high pH. There are lots of a wide range of actinomycetes in the soil, and some of the most important ones include Streptomyces, Actinoplane, Frankia, Actinomyces, Thermomonospora, etc. These are some of the widely available actinomycetes in the soil. And hope so you remember Streptomyces, which is the responsible for the production of the antibiotic streptomycin. Now this is a culture plate growth pattern of Streptomyces, and this is how it looks when it is being viewed under the microscope, because it is filamentous and it will be formed a filamentous bacteria. It's a filamentous bacteria which will grow, but if you look at this, it will look like it is a fungus also, but it is a bacteria. Another example of it is of actinomycete is Frankia. When you look at this, I think you remember, this is being found in the root nodules of some higher plants. Frankia is a nitrogen fixing actinomycete, and under the microscope, it looks like this. Okay, so various range of, and if you go to look, it's not easy to find out and by heart all the actinomycetes which have been found in soil, because actinomycetes are a group of bacteria which are being found to be very vast, and even now many of the actinomycetes still remain unexplored to our knowledge. So but do remember the most important ones such as Streptomyces, Frankia, Actinomyces, etc. And Streptomyces of much importance because we have medicinal implications of this particular actinomyces. These actinomyces are usually slow growing ones. Now let's talk about another microflora of the soil referred to as the algae. These algae, they are found in places with enough moisture and sunlight, and their number in the soil is being found to be considerably less. And usually you can see that on the surface of the soil, they will form a scum-like structure. And usually based upon the morphology, you can divide them into single cellular forms, filamentous forms, or even as colonies. That is, either they will occur as single forms or they will form filaments. You know what's a filament? It's an extended cell. Or it can be form a colony. A colony is a group of cells which occur together. So algae, they are usually been found to be less in number and they form scums, and they might grow in places where enough moisture and sunlight is only been present. Now, if you're going to consider soil algae, you can divide them into four different groups. One is a chlorophyceae. As the term implies itself, it contains chlorophyll in the chromatophores, and it is green in color, and hence it is known as a green algae, and different varieties are there. Chlorella, as is this one, and Chlamydomonas. You can see a small flagella also, which has been present over here. So the one group of soil algae is chlorophyceae. Then the second group is xanthophyceae. Xanthophyceae is also yellowish green in color, and the pigment called xanthophyll has been present over here, and hence we call it as a yellow green algae, and Botredium species is an example of this. And now then we have cyanophyceae. You can see that it contains chlorophyll, and also it contains a blue pigment called the phycocyanin. So that is called as a blue green algae. Examples of that is Anabana as well as nostoc. So green algae, yellow green algae, blue green algae, and then we have the brown algae here. That is the Basilarophyceae. It is surrounded by, this could be either a unicellular or colonial algae. Okay, either single or as colonies it occurs. And sometimes what happens, it will be surrounded by a silicified layer, that is silica will be found around it, and it is having a golden brown in color. Now example of that is Navicula. Now all these algae which I am showing here, they have been found to be as soil algae. Hope this is clear to you. Now we came across actinomycetes as well as the algae which would be present in the soil. Now in the coming sessions we will be talking about the soil protozoa as well as the soil viruses. Thank you for now.